That's funny. That's a funny song because he says the word
is a funny
jugs
song,
too. Who says jugs?
A fucking 12-year-old.
Yes. Welcome back to Asinine Radio, a weekly podcast where we talk about music, and well, that's pretty much it. So let's go. God, scare me. Death, can't believe it. Don't.
This is Asinine Radio. This is the weekly music podcast where every week we take a different artist, different band, and we take one of their albums, we break it down, we find out all the little secrets about the records, and then we let you all know about it. My name is Tyler, way out there, hundreds of miles away, way out there in the ether. It's Jeff. Go to Apple Podcasts, go rate, review, and subscribe to us on there. Give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. That would mean so much to us. Please go do that. You could also find us on social media at Asinine Radio. We have a Discord server. If you want to get on there, hang out with us and other people that are into the pod, do that. We also have a phone number that you can call, leave a voicemail, text us. That phone number is 503-893-5307. The intros are done now, Jeff. Okay. So what are we doing today?
Heavy Petting Zoo by NOFX.
What is your origin story with NOFX and kind of your first impressions of this record, Heavy Petting Zoo? What do you got?
Go. My first, my origin story is from camp, but I didn't listen to them. I wasn't interested in that at that time. And that was around the time like 97, and so it wasn't. I don't know. This was when did this come out? 114.
Yeah, 114.
96, right? This came out.
Yeah.
So 96. I have vague memories of the song "Whatever DD Wants," just the intro part. Mm-hmm. It's always stuck with me for some reason. But Punk and Drublick was stuff that I've heard while at camp, but put that in the back or in the bank. I didn't care about it then. Fast forward till Punkorama 2000, and like you, Bath of Least Resistance. That's like fucking. Hey, that song is so goddamn good, and it's so dumb how good that song is. So that's like my true intro to NOFX, because when I heard that song, that's when I thought, I need to investigate further. I need to figure out who this band is, what's going on. And that's why I think Pump Up the Volume is so close to me, because that was the same time that kind of came out. And so that like Pump Up the Volume was like the first NOFX album that I really heard front to back. And then after that, then I went back and did Punk and Drublick and stuff like that. But I didn't do Heavy Petting Zoo till decades later. Probably like
really? Shit.
Yeah, decades. It was a lost one, and it's because again, it's in between Punk and Drublick and Pump Up the Volume, and
yeah,
I don't know. It was just lost. It was lost on me, and plus I was so into Wolves at the time that came out also, and so I never went back. I always moved forward, much like in life. I always move forward. I never look back.
Okay. Man, could you be any more full of shit? I don't even know.
I know, like one of those fucking bullshit motivational speakers. Yeah, dude, honestly, it probably wasn't even until, I can't even remember it, but it had to have been around the time when we were in like our mid-20s to like late 20s where I went back to listen to Heavy Petting Zoo. And even then, I don't remember it that well. It wasn't until we did Two Heaves and a Being that I went back to Heavy Petting Zoo and was like, okay, this is pretty damn good. I like this, actually. So, yeah, that's my origin story with NOFX and Heavy Petting Zoo.
All right, there you go. So my origin story goes along with my first impression, kind of, because the first time I ever heard of NOFX was Bath of Least Resistance off of Punkorama. So, what, 2000, right?
Yeah.
That was when it came out. So, and that's a fucking B-side. You know, that's not even on not even an album track. But damn, dude, that song's a fucking banger. So that was my introduction to the band, and it was very late because it was on that Punkorama later than your introduction. But I was obsessed with that song, and then I was family vacation with my immediate family and like my aunt and uncle, my cousins, and my cousin is a couple years older than me, but he's the one who introduced me to a bunch of fucking rad music over the years. And NOFX was one of them, and he had a burned copy of Heavy Petting Zoo, and we were on a family vacation in Hawaii, and it was the day we got there. We had just got off the plane, and my cousin and I were just hanging out. And he's like, "Oh yeah, listen to this band; they're really cool." So I took the CD, and it was NOFX Heavy Petting Zoo, burned copy. I put it on, and I was instantly hooked by it. Like I never ever heard anything like this record. And I knew of NOFX because of Path of Least Resistance, but that song compared to this record sound nothing alike. It's like night and day. And I was just hooked. Like so many weird instruments and sounds that I'd never heard and never really thought would sound good together. But for whatever reason they did on this record, and I was hooked. I was hooked ever since. And man, I can't even tell you how many times I've listened to this record just over and over and over the years. And then as time went on, obviously, I discovered Pump Up the Volume because of Path of Least Resistance, and then I've pretty much been following their career ever since. You know, Wolves and Wolves Clothing, and I mean War and Airism before that, and then so on and so forth. But then I went back and dabbled in Punk and Drublick, and the second NOFX record I ever got was So Long and Thanks for All the Shoes. So I kind of got into this band in a very weird way because most people get into it with Punk and Drublick. Or Pump Up the Volume. Those are like the two introduction records for NOFX. But yeah, I don't know. It was my cousin because he gave me this CD, and this was my introduction and my first impression of it. Love it. Love Heavy Petting Zoo. And I even talked to I hung out with my cousin on what's today, Monday. I hung out with him a few days ago, and we were just talking about music and everything and like that, and NOFX was brought up, and he's like, "Oh man, I love Heavy Petting Zoo." Like he just randomly brought it up, and I told him, "That's so weird you said that because that's literally what I'm doing on the podcast. We're doing Heavy Petting Zoo." So we like talked a bunch about the record and everything. It was a really weird coincidence that he happened to bring up this particular record hanging out just a couple days ago.
The same cousin that turned you on to Heavy Petting Zoo?
Yeah.
And the same cousin that you were already talking about NOFX with?
Yeah.
And it's weird that he brought up Heavy Petting Zoo?
Well, it's a weird coincidence that he brought it up like 2 days before we were going to do it on the pod.
Were you hanging out with him 2 days before we did the pod?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do I have to repeat everything I said again?
It's not like a big coincidence. It's like a small coincidence.
It is like a weird coincidence because like why of all the bands to talk about, he brought it up. I didn't bring it up. He brought up NOFX and he brought up this record and how much he loved it. And then I told him, "Oh yeah, we're doing it on the podcast." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to listen to that for sure."
Oh.
Yeah, it was a fun little coincidence, I thought.
Sure.
But whatever. So that's my initial thought. So do you have any stinkers on this one? Even though you hate this record?
No, no stinkers.
I'm surprised. Surprised.
I don't hate this record, but no stinkers.
Okay. So then do you have how many bangers do you have on this one? Like 3?
8 bangers.
That many? Look at you go.
Yeah, one of them barely made it, but 8 bangers.
Okay. I have no stinkers. I have 11 bangers, so that's cool.
Oh, what is not your banger?
The last 2 songs, August 8th.
Oh, okay. Wow. Awesome. Those are also not my bangers.
Well, there you go.
I will say, though, if we're going to get these over real quick, August 8th, It reminds me of Degenerate from Dude Ranch. Like that.
Does it?
That hum-de-de-dum, that little like chord, that
I know
strumming pattern.
About. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That's all I can think of when I heard that song.
Wow, that's a weird reference, but I guess it makes sense.
Made me giggle.
But I mean,
and also, I'm a big Grateful Dead fan now, and I don't appreciate that song whatsoever.
Yeah, it's about celebrating Jerry Garcia's death, and but then he got the date wrong. I guess it was like August 7th or August 9th or something.
No, it was August 9th. Idiot. But I mean, it makes sense.
there
It
you
makes sense that punkers and hippies never really mesh well, and it's there's always a clash there, which I actually like looked up a lot and just like read a lot about like the punker and hippie clash this week because I was genuinely curious and it made a lot of sense. So I understand now.
What do you mean? In what way?
Punkers never liked hippies. Like they hate hippies.
Well, I know that. But what's like? I've never understood the underlying reason.
It's. I mean, like, so when I explain it, it's going to make sense. So like punkers coming from like the working class, right? The 60s and the 70s, working class people that are not middle class. Like the hippies were middle class folk who would decide one day, you know what, man, school's not for me. I'm gonna drop out. But even dropping out, you have the luxury to drop out. You can't just drop out and like what are you gonna do for food? You gotta fucking eat. You gotta drink. You gotta buy drugs. These are middle class people that dropped out of school that didn't want to do anything but could still survive. Punkers based from like the working class didn't have the luxury of dropping out of school because if you drop out of school, you better go to fucking work.
Yeah.
And so if you're not working, then you starve to death. Like you die. You don't have that kind of luxury. And then just the overall mindset between the punkers and the hippies, which they both underlying mindset is kind of the same thing. They both hate the man.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think it's the inaction is what pissed off the punkers the most, where, like the iconic putting a flower in the rifle of a barrel or the barrel of a rifle, putting a flower in there is kind of like the hippie mindset. Like, let's just use our words. Like that shit doesn't work. Punkers are the opposite. They take action by taking action, by doing things, boots to the ground, riots. A lot of the race riots in the 60s and 70s, a lot of the protests, a lot of the union riots, those things were not done, but a lot of punkers had their hand involved in those. And I think that's why they hate the hippies so much, is because the hippies took the complete opposite approach where just they did nothing.
Yeah,
complete inaction. And then you think like decades later, after the hippies died, not like literally, but after the hippie generation kind of died off, what did they do to progress society, to progress music? And it's not much. But punk, like what did punk do to progress society and progress
punk
music?
Evolved a lot.
And it's a lot. Yeah, punk did a lot for society. But I think punkers needed the hippies to kind of ground them a little bit, to stop being so angry. Because as we know, skinheads went from being working class people into being
fascists,
neo-Nazis.
Yeah.
And that sucks. Like the skinheads were, they're now adopted into being what we know as like Nazis. And that's not what they started as at all.
True.
Like the complete opposite. And so I think the punkers needed the hippies to kind of ground them in reality a little bit. But yeah, that's why they hate each other. And it makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. I've just never really thought about looking into it, but
I never did either until this song. And he kept saying like hippies are crying and I was like, I wonder if this is, because I kind of like, I didn't know exactly when Jerry Garcia died, but it was around this time. I was like, I wonder if this is about like that. No way. But it fucking was.
Sure
I was like, are you kidding me? You wrote a fucking song about the death of Jerry Garcia? Are you kidding? And then I was like, you're an asshole. That's just closed-minded and stupid. That's just fucking dumb. And that song irritated me.
He criticizes Jerry Garcia, celebrates his death, but then worships Darby Crash from the Germs.
Dude, yeah, get out of here.
Darby Crash is like one of the fucking worst. Like, Darby Crash is almost as bad as Sid Vicious. Fuck. I don't get the Germs. I really don't get the Germs. I definitely don't get Darby Crash. I don't know, but fucking Fat Mike idolizes that guy.
That's why I don't. Oh, that's why this band fucking irritates me so much. Is because even on the backstage pass part, right? They did this whole world tour so they could play shows and get that feeling of like being in a punk band again from like the early 80s when they first started like playing punk shows in the fucking middle of the woods and shit. That's why they did that tour, was so they could get that feeling again. But it's not the early 80s. They're not that young anymore. Like why can't you accept growing old?
True.
And the whole time I'm thinking like, I mean, it's been a while since I watched it, but the whole time I remember like Fat Mike's daughter at the time she never wanted anything to do with him. She was like, "Oh, I don't want to kiss daddy bye. I don't want to talk to daddy." And
oh yeah, when she was like a toddler, right?
Yeah, she was like 2,
Yeah.
and kids are dumb at that age anyway. Who cares? I don't know, but I just thought like, bro, you're not fucking 20 anymore.
Yeah.
Like, grow up. Why can't you grow up? Why is it such an unpunk concept to fucking grow up and pay your goddamn bills? I don't get it. And he still lived in a nice house at the time.
I know.
They all
right?
live in decent houses. So I don't understand why NoFX tries so hard post Punk and Drublick, because Heavy Petting Zoo is a total clapback to Punk and Drublick as them trying to save face to the punk community, because Punk and Drublick blew up not initially, but it gained traction later on and blew up to be an iconic thing, and they got all these letters from big labels. And so Heavy Petting Zoo is like this clapback to Punk and Drublick, saying, "Oh, look, we're still punk. Look at us."
But it wasn't even like traditional punk. It was still they experimented a lot on this record.
Yeah, because they didn't want to be traditional punk, because they did traditional punk in their first album. It fucking sucked.
I feel like if we're gonna relate this record to anything they had done prior, this is closer to White Trash than anything else they've ever done, because it does have the quirkiness, the weirdness, the experimentation with the different instruments, like White Trash does, that Drublick didn't really do or anything like that. So
no, I agree, and White Trash was kind of like a weird thing, and I think none of them knew what really to expect. And I think White Trash, they were just feeling each other out, and it just so happened to be fucking really good.
yeah,
Like, that doesn't happen often, where you have an established band, and they hadn't just released 3 albums. They were a band like a decade before that. They were playing shows, playing gigs, EPs. They were putting out music like almost a decade before that. And so when you add another member to your band, and you make an album that's really fucking good, like that's special.
pretty cool.
That's unique. That does not happen like that.
But then I think about it too. Like, think of their perspective too. They probably thought that they were probably told they were such sellouts too for making a more commercial record, and they probably fucking hated it too.
Of course they did, because they were stuck in the middle ground of being respected in the punk community and making money. God forbid you make a fucking living being in a band. Like, who cares? And I think that's what Heavy Petting Zoo is coming in hot as. Heavy Petting Zoo is coming in hot on the coattails of Punk and Drublick. Look at the cover art. Like, my God.
Yeah, I know.
First of all, this album has nothing to do with animals. There's no bestiality whatsoever on this. The cover art, its sole purpose is to shock.
Yes,
that is it.
Both covers, because there's 2 different covers.
Oh God, dude, and it is literally like the most. It's hard for dude. I have a high tolerance for fucking things like this, but this is even hard for me to look at.
No.
Like, I think if I bought this on vinyl, I don't think I would put this up next to my record as I listen to it. You know, you post a record.
I don't.
You can't.
Because I do have this record on vinyl, and so there's two different covers for this record. The CD cover is a man sitting down on the ground on a farm, and he has a sheep in his lap, and he's like jacking it off. It's fucking
he's reaching around.
It's a good old fashioned reach around on a sheep. But then you think that's bad. Then you get the vinyl cover, and he's literally 69ing a sheep. Like, it's just, I was embarrassed when I bought the record. When I went to the store, because I bought this at a store. I didn't buy this off Amazon. I bought it at a store, and I was embarrassed, but I really wanted it. And this is the first NOFX record I ever bought on vinyl. And I was embarrassed. I honestly was. I didn't think I would be as embarrassed as I was. And the name of the record on vinyl is different. It's not called Heavy Petting Zoo. It's called Eating Lamb. And yeah, it's wild. And then even the back cover on the vinyl version is, I'm pretty sure it's different from the CD version, because it has a guy with like literally like a bunch of lamb like ribs, and he's just like chowing down on lamb. It's fucking weird. It's such a fucking weird record.
It really is. It's hard to look at. And I mean, if we're just gonna kill the cover art right now, let's get that out of the way. But the cover art, the fact that like there's so much detail put into his pants being down, and the pants being all the way at the end, and it's not like his face, dude. He's so deep into the lamb. It's I don't even know what
very
I'm talking about.
explicit.
It's fucking
It's
so
very
awkward.
explicit.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah. And then it was so bad in 96 that the German government actually banned the sale of the record because the cover was so
I don't blame 'em.
obscene. Yeah. So you could not buy it in Germany back in the 90s. And then Fat Mike did say that, just like jokingly, he said, "Yeah, I think it sold well in Denmark." So I guess that's like always been a running joke that porn in Denmark is fucking terrible. Yeah, there you go. So it was banned in Germany. The cover art was.
But I mean, that's this album. This album, again, I really feel like this is coming off the coattails of Punk and Drublic and how big Punk and Drublic got in the years following. And this is NOFX kind of trying to tell the world that we're still punk.
Yeah.
And what better way to do it than make the most disgusting cover art you could possibly think of with an album full of songs that are still punk, but you can tell they want to be something better than just, like liberal animation. Like they want to be something better. They don't like that sound. They don't want to be that because that's boring punk music.
Yeah.
And so
I totally agree with you on that.
Punk and Drublic was them like putting it out. Didn't do well at first. It got better with time. And I think NOFX got a little conceited and then ran with it.
Mm-hmm.
And
everything, because there's very little written about this record, like in interviews or really anything. Like nobody really talks about this record. It's truly a forgotten NOFX record. And the one of the few things that Mike has said about this one is that right after they recorded it, he thought that like this is like the coolest thing they had ever done. This is just an awesome record. And then he said like a month later, he's like, nah, I take back everything I said. Like it's kind of weird. So he quickly changed his views on the recording of this record. And I can kind of understand that because it is so different, but dude, there's some really good moments on this record. And just kind of what they decided, I feel like what they decided to do tone-wise with the guitars are really heavy and very metal sounding compared to everything else they've ever put out. And
yeah.
But then there are also some really soft moments too, It's a really dynamic sounding record. It's weird. There's nothing like it in their discography.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is their most, if there was like a lost album, this is their most lost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of what it's sandwiched in between. It's sandwiched in between Punk and Drublic and then what would become the pop punk NOFX.
Yeah,
so
true.
It's there.
But it's like it's not even a transition record. Like
no, because it makes no sense. It's fucking weird. It's
you can
melancholy. It's heavy. It's weird.
I know, because you can hear the transition from from S&M to Ribbed to White Trash. Like you can hear that transition really well, but fuck man, there's nothing here. It's such a black sheep. I mean, I guess yeah. It's kind of the black sheep of their discography. It's bizarre. I don't know why they made this record. It makes no sense. See,
they won't admit it, but I swear I would bet money they made this as an attempt to save face from the people that said they sold out for Punk and Drublic.
It could have been. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised.
They got a lot of flack for it.
Yeah, they did. And and even a lot of fans don't even know this fucking thing exists, like we've already been saying. So,
which I don't know how that's even fucking possible with that cover art. But.
It's so bad. Oh, but I love it. I love this record, man. I'll put up with the embarrassment of buying it at a record store. Whatever. But I will not. I mean, I don't display this record. Like when I'm listening to it, like I normally display it, like you were saying. Yeah, I do. I don't. I kind of lay it flat so I don't have to look at it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Fucking weird.
It's hard to look at. It is weird. Like I have Supertramp's like second or third album is just a topless girl on the front.
Yeah.
And that's a little risque, we got neighbor kids coming over and stuff. And if I'm listening to music, can't really display that. But like just nudity is one thing. Yeah. And that's fine. It's something we can tolerate, something we can, I don't know, have an objective eye on. But this.
Yeah. Bestiality in a painted form.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like fucking painted. So like, he took so much time doing this.
Like
honestly,
but then it makes it a little bit easier to look at because it is painted. Because if it was an actual photograph, like that would just be on another level, like disgusting. Like it's disgusting right now, but that was if it was a photograph, it would just be way worse.
I can't even. And like the guy's butt is just it's just such a perfect butt looking too. Like when you draw a butt, like drawing butts are hard. I draw butts a lot, just as jokes and stuff. And on whiteboards, I always draw a butt. Drawing a butt is hard. It's not easy. I'm telling you.
Oh my God, why do you draw so many butts?
I draw a lot because they're hard. Trust. Next time you're in a situation where we have a pen and paper in front of you, try and draw a butt.
Oh my God,
it's not easy.
But isn't it easier just to draw like a wiener, like a dick?
Oh yeah, for sure. But I can't draw a wiener in front of like other kids and stuff. But butts are fun. Yeah.
But you can draw butts in front of kids?
Yeah, like poops and farts and stuff. You can draw butts. Butts are fine. Butts are like the middle ground. Everybody likes butts. They're funny. No one cannot look at a butt picture and not laugh, not giggle.
That's true. You know, it's like you can't not laugh at a fart when you hear a fart. Like you're gonna laugh, right? Like you're
exactly.
Like, there's no fart sound, but you're laughing just at the thought of it.
It's fucking stupid. It's universal. It's funny.
Like no matter what, you're gonna laugh.
I'm sure like those tribes that have like no human contact, you know, like throw spears at fucking airplanes. I'm sure those tribes probably laugh at farts too.
I'm sure, yeah.
What does that have to do with anything? Why would you say that?
This has gone off the rails. Okay, so
NOFX does to us.
So let's move away from the artwork. Let's get into your BB, your biggest banger. So what do you got?
Is Filthy Phil Philanthropist?
Is that
BB?
really?
No, is that your BB?
No, it's not my BB.
Oh, okay. No. If that was, we already talked about it, but
I mean, should we get into that then?
Or? Okay, that's my 5B.
Okay, that's my 2B. Filthy Phil Philanthropist is my 2B. Yeah. Since we played it, I guess, yeah, might as well talk about it.
Filthy Phil Philanthropist.
So what do you think about this one?
I like it. I think it's fucking great. I think it's cool that NOFX can still, this late in the game, and even though it's early in like their career because they've been around for so long, this is this is their fucking 6th album, and they're still doing like the ska punk stuff. Yeah. I love it, and I'm a sucker for that shit. And this is still the 90s, so it's still acceptable, and that's fine. And the fact that they throw a xylophone in there,
it's so cool. I love it.
And he goes blah. Like you add a xylophone to make it sound like a little nicer, a little classier. You calm things down. Then you add your blah to it. Like, what are you doing, dude? Like, it's so stupid. It does not mix.
Mm-hmm.
But it does mix.
But it does, yeah. It works so well in the griminess of this record. Because this record is very grimy as well. Like, it's very gross sounding, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not clean.
Overall, I think this album is very... It's heavy, but it's not like a Punk and Drublic kind of heavy. It's heavy in the sense that it's like dirty. Like you said, it's grimy. There's a lot of things that they do on here. There's some stuff on here that I think are like metal sounding, that are grunge sounding. They do a lot of different sounds that I just don't understand like why they thought this would be like a good clap back to Punk and Drublic outside of the cover art. But I don't know. It's weird, but yeah, this is my 5B. I actually said I like how grindy Mike's bass sounds in his solo parts.
Yeah,
whatever like distortion he was using, it was just enough to make it sound like it was distorted, but it was just a little bit more after that to make it sound like it was just grating. It was irritating. But they wrote songs around it.
I will say too on this record and this song especially, Mike has. This is the only time I feel in their entire career where Mike sounds this lazy and this melancholy at the same time. Because everything else, like he kind of has like this Bad Religion kind of vocal delivery that he doesn't really have on this record. It's more of just kind of like I'm just kind of going with the flow, just kind of. It's almost like it's just very lazy.
Yeah, it's that fucking talk singing shit that he does a lot.
But he does it to like the extreme on this record. But it also sounds very sad, and it doesn't sound like, I don't know, it doesn't sound like he's trying to like prove a point. Like it's not like he's trying to, because like on some records and some songs he sounds like he's trying to be preachy, but not on this record. It's just this weird combination of his delivery that I think is really interesting, and this song especially. So, but going along also with what you said, the when he goes the bleh bleh bleh, and then it's like the really happy upstrokes of the ska part. It's just that kind of that opposite thing going on. It's so dumb, but it fucking works for this song at least, and the xylophone too.
It's interesting because this was put out by Epitaph, and this was like almost the exact same time as Bad Religion released The Gray Race, right? The cover with all their fucking faces on it and everything. And that's such an icon.
94, right?
This was the same. They were released like a month apart. Year?
Oh, was it? Okay. I'm thinking
less than a month apart. Like it was fucking one after the other. And so to think that they didn't have like an influence on each other is just silly. And The Gray Race, I'm not a big Bad Religion fan, but that's a wildly successful Bad Religion album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
Bad Religion overall and that album are very somber. Like they take their shit really seriously. Like I think they spill milk and they cry about it. That's like Bad Religion's fucking mantra. And that's kind of what like this album is about. This album is very. It's not like deep. It's we're not digging deep here in the psyche of the human mind, but it is a little melancholy and
the delivery of it. The delivery of it.
And
it's
they've never done anything like this ever after this.
Mm-hmm. It's
like their later albums.
It's like they listened to Smashing Pumpkins' Melancholy and then Infinite Sadness and then did this record.
Maybe because it was so terrible and boring.
Dude, shut up. You like that record. Yeah, it's long, but you like it. That's why you bought that box set. The fuck out of here.
I did not buy that box set.
You added it to your Discogs.
I don't know why or how that happened. I did not buy that box set.
You bought it, you added it to your Discogs, and then once you realized that I saw that, you got embarrassed, so you deleted it, but you still kept the box set and you're hiding it.
4 hours of my life I will never get back.
But it was a good 4 hours. We had a good time listening to that box set.
Yeah, the first 40 minutes was fine.
Oh, it's so good. I'm probably gonna listen to that album this week. But
no, dude.
Anyway,
no, stop.
Filthy Phil. What do you got lyrically on this one?
I thought this was about greed and gluttony, fighting the power. Normal punk stuff.
Yeah, that's how I feel. And like it's about his distaste toward the rich and elite, and how he's happy just being poor and not fucking over other people. Just kind of almost like looking out for himself, and that's about it. But it's kind of what I got on this one.
It's always interesting to me when like people that could be working are proud of being poor, and you think like, it's like what do you do? Like, oh, I work a little bit. What do you do with the money? I pay rent, and the rest I spend on drugs. Like, well, okay, well, you're still not contributing anything. You're still a nobody in a sense.
Yeah.
But that's everything the punkers hate about the hippies. The hippies spent all their money on drugs. And that's what the punkers did. That's like literally what fucking NOFX did for so many years.
Yeah, it's just that one is a little bit more aggressive than the other. That's really what it is.
Yeah, sometimes. Verbally.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. So, that's what I got on Filthy Phil. So
5B.
That's my 2B. So then what do you got for your 1B?
Freedom like shopping cart. Like a shopping cart.
No.
Yeah.
That's my 6B. So
that's how you say it, right? Freedom like a shopping cart. Like a shopping
cart.
Like a glove. This had a nice gradual build up. I a little more melancholy again type of song. It's bouncy, but not quite as like happy sounding as some of the stuff we've heard before. Yeah. It's got that tinge of Bad Religion, a tinge of sadness to them, and I fucking absolutely love the chorus, whatever chorus type part, how everything drops in to be so melodic, and this is like they had some melodic stuff on Punk and Drum, like
when he says like kick back, no tense. Oh, dude, I love that part too. It's just so good. It
kind of comes out of nowhere. It kind of comes out of nowhere. You don't think it's coming. Like usually with these punk bands, you can see where they're going. These fucking guys are a dime a dozen. And NOFX after this were a dime a dozen. They did the same shit over and over. But sometimes, like with punk bands, you can see where they're going with this. You can't see that. Like you don't expect that. Mm-hmm. It drops in out of nowhere. And there's some chicka chickas in there too. Don't forget.
Yeah. Oh, I know that. But they're not even like the normal chicka chickas. They're like they're just
a little heavier.
A little bit heavier, but they're also like they're not that tekka tekka tekka. It's more like I can't even do it. It's
oh, you were so close. I thought you were gonna do it.
I know I was trying to, but then I can't do it. Like you just have to listen to the song.
Yeah, listen to it. Okay,
gotta listen to it. But what I think is cool, like with those choruses, like you were saying, they're not really choruses because the lyrics change every time, but they start the same when he says "kick back." So like that's how he starts out that whole melody is by saying "kick back," and then he goes into like different words. So like the first one he says "kick back, no tents." You got a bag of grub, and then the next one he says "kick back, cheap thrills. You'll do anything," and then he just changes the lyrics, but it's the same melody, and I think that's really cool. My favorite
one's the next one. He says "kick back, free meals." That was my favorite one.
Wait, which one? What is it?
That was the last one. Kick back, free meals.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I love it.
It is good. It's a killer song, and you know, it starts out pretty heavy. The dun 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 dun. It's just like the like almost like this tribal drums, and then so you have the chugging going along, and then you have that cool like lead guitar part that's almost very Offspring like, I guess you could say. And I will say this too, like the choruses that we were just talking about, they remind me a lot of Alkaline Trio. I mean, this predates Alkaline Trio by like a year or two, but it reminds me of a lot of like how Skiba kind of writes his melodies in the choruses or the hook or his hooks or whatever.
I can see it for sure, especially on this album.
Yeah,
because I mean, Alkaline Trio makes a career out of being pop punk, but a little sad.
Yeah, and that's what this record is for sure.
Yeah, that's what this is.
That's kind of how I feel about it musically. But
is this a B for you?
Yeah, it's a 6B. It's my 6B.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I think this is a great song, and you know the first the first 6 songs are pretty different from one another. They all have their own unique, very unique, different sounds and styles and parts, and that's kind of what I think gives this record its identity as well, is just how different so many of these songs sounds, because it's not just like punk song after punk song, punk after punk song, and you get like one instrumental like interlude and then back to the punk stuff. So I agree. It's all over the place.
I agree. I also will say that this album's first half is much better than the second half.
Oh, totally.
And out of the first 6 songs, 5 of those are bangers for me.
Out of the first 6?
Yeah. Okay. Only one of them is not a banger.
Which one is it?
It's the first song, Homophobic.
Oh, okay. Really?
It's not bad. It's just, it's too short to get into anything good.
Okay. No, I understand that. But it's also, I feel like Homophobic is like it's, to me, I always viewed it as like a perfect way to just throw it back to what they did at the beginning. So this is like almost like telling a story in a way of just like, here's like a straight up punk song under a minute, like I think it's like 57 seconds or something like that. And it's just like a straight up punk song, and then let's do something fucking super weird. I almost said like the Monty Python.
Completely different.
Yeah, I know. I didn't. I almost said that, and then I thought, oh, that's really stupid and cheesy.
Oh, we said it multiple times,
but I didn't say it. But you did.
They've done it multiple times.
Well, they did it as a joke, but
yeah, but then they like started another album with the same thing that they did the previous album as a joke.
Yeah.
So they're in on their own joke.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But yeah, Freedom Like a Shopping Cart. Should we play a little bit of it, or what do you think?
It's whatever you want to do, kid.
And then get into the lyrics. I don't know. This is your pod. I mean, this is honestly whatever you want to do. Okay, so here we go. Freedom Like a Shopping Cart from the NOFXs. Freedom Like a Shopping Cart from NOFX. There's some really cool guitar parts here, man. Oh, man. On this entire record, there's some like really fast, like almost thrash style, tiny guitar parts.
I'm telling you, there's bangers later on, that are deeper than like just punk music.
Later on in the record?
Yeah. Or later on
Like-
in my bangers, at least.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you got lyrically on this one?
I think it's like sort of trying to say the only people who aren't slaves to the system or are free completely are homeless people.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like glamorizing the homeless life in a weird way.
Yeah.
Cardboard condominiums next to the beach and stuff. And
I get that. I kind of viewed it more as he's kind of telling the story of a drug addict's life. You know, just the day-to-day life of this person and kind of what they're going through and, you know, how they live. And I guess it is kind of glorifying it because of everything else he talks about on the record. But that's how I view this particular song lyrically.
this is one of the songs where I really did think like he's trying to say that, the only people that are free are homeless people. And you think, well, why aren't you homeless then? Like, why do you still draw a paycheck and tour and try and make money and stuff? And I don't know, a little disjointed. And
True.
But that goes in like the whole NOFX thing of doing one thing, like speaking one thing and then doing another thing.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Like they're like the Sam Adams of punk bands. Like they're fucking just one step away from being corporate. They're so fucking close.
I know. That's a really good comparison right there, or analogy, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean Sam Adams, it was craft beer, but like they're the ones who spend the money to make it, so they change the definition of what craft beer is, and
Yeah,
that's similar to NOFX.
very, very similar. So, Freedom Like a Shopping Cart. That's your 1B.
1B.
So my 1B is Release the Hostages.
Release the hostages.
Yeah, this one. The first time I heard this one, I was blown away. I'd never really heard, at this point in my life, I'd never really heard anything this fast. And it's a short song, no chorus. It's a punch in the face, man. Like I said, I never heard anything like it at the time, and it's just kind of stuck with me. This is a top 5 NOFX because of the nostalgia, honestly. But Release the Hostages, great song, and then the very end has always just kind of made me laugh when I think it's Melvin. He just yells "fuck," and then you hear like all this shit crash in the background because
I always thought it
never
smelly,
stops.
like tripping over like a cymbal or something.
It could have been, yeah. I mean,
But like right before like them lazy yaz that they're doing,
yeah,
and then to the fuck. That's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Tom DeLonge, but
It is. This is they stole from Tom DeLonge.
it's true. And what I like too is that, you know, it's the heavy like bass intro, and then he literally yells "stop." Everything stops. Stop. Have a beer. It's so
So stupid.
it's very dumb. It's very Bad Religion. And I don't know, man. I think at this point, I think what I noticed during the listen through of NOFX this week was that how much they were inspired by Bad Religion vocally, because Bad Religion have very fast music, but Greg Gaffin has a very slow way of delivering his vocals, and that's how kind of Fat Mike has, I feel like he's kind of done throughout the years. Is
Yeah,
he kind of
that's true,
takes
huh?
on he takes on that kind of like slow. Let me take my time delivering the vocals when everything else
Lazy.
is going crazy. Yeah. Except in this sense, it was like an extra lazy on this record.
I think when like Greg does it, it's because he's like putting emphasis on what he's saying. When Fat Mike does it, I think it's just a deliberate attempt to be lazy and obnoxious.
Yeah, that sounds about right, honestly. So, yeah, that's my number 1.
Okay,
There's not much to it, but might as well play a bit of it, right?
sure.
Pretty fucking short. So
Yeah.
here's Release the Hostages from NOFX. Release the Hostages from NOFX. And what's so really great about this particular record is how clean those palm mutes are from the guitarist, from Hefe and Melvin. Like they're just so crisp. I don't know if you kind of agree with that, but man, it's fucking solid, especially in that bridge and Release the Hostages.
I think
Solid
it's
stuff.
I think it's weird because they do palm mutes a lot. Like they fucking love that shit. They love just putting palm mutes in the background, which is an easy 4-chord riff, and having Fat Mike lazily fucking sing over it. No big deal. But what makes this one different is how heavy they are. It's not like how much distortion is it. It's like the amount of fuzz, how heavy it is, but they're still able to be clean about it.
Yeah.
And I know it's weird because punkers aren't grunge kids. They're not metal kids. They're punkers. And so there's a fine line because there are songs on here that I mean, as a joke and not everything else, but there are songs on here that are like grunge sounding, metal sounding. And so to kind of bridge all of these things together, but probably using the same fucking pedal for all of them, I think it's fun. I think it's cool. Yeah, I dig.
But yeah, it's a solid song. I mean lyrically, I don't think it's just about being drunk and depressed. Outside of that, there's not a lot there, right? I mean,
no, it's like literally exactly what I got. Just using alcohol as a coping mechanism for something.
Yeah, and musically, I mean, do you have anything else on this one musically?
Actually, overall, like on this album, this one also, I like the amount of just jamming. Like, there's not a lot of words on a lot of these songs. True. I mean, they're already short songs anyway, but just like the amount of jamming, and not that it's crazy or anything, or there's like weird pacing changes. Just let it go, let the music go, let it breathe, let's see where it goes. Mm-hmm. I like that, but this is my 7B. Not gonna lie,
that's fine.
You know,
I mean, what was it? Shopping cart was my 6B. So yeah, that's fine. There's still bangers. So
still bangers, baby.
I'm not upset about it.
Pizza's pizza, right?
Well, I've had a couple of bad pizzas in my lifetime.
Remember Wedding Crashers when he was like, "It's like pizza, baby. It's all good." You like crab cakes? I love crab cakes. What's your 2B?
Oh wait, your 2B was Filthy Phil, right?
No, that was your 2B.
Oh, that was my okay. So then, what's your 2B?
Oh, I asked you first, but then you asked me. My 2B is Bleeding Heart Disease.
All right, Bleeding Heart. That's my 4B. That's my 4B.
Fine. You can completely dismiss what I asked you and just ask me something else. This is your pod. Yeah, Bleeding Heart Disease.
No, you
is my
said 2B, right?
I asked you what your 2B was. You completely dismissed my question and then re-asked the same exact question to me.
Yeah, because
expecting an answer because you feel you have some kind of authority over me because this is your podcast.
No,
that's fine. My 2B is Bleeding Heart Disease. I love this song.
No, you asked me what my 2B was, knowing full well that my 2B was Filthy Phil.
I didn't know. I forgot.
Well, that's not. I mean, that's your fault.
I didn't forget. I didn't know.
Yeah, so you know what you were doing.
I'm like elephant. I never forget.
Well, debatable.
Like a Huffalump. I never forget.
You also forgot, that we talked about white trash earlier this week, but that's fine.
Did we?
Yeah, there we go. Forgetting again.
Oh yeah, like David. That's right.
Like fucking. And it's
funny because when he sent me that picture, I was like, no, that was the time when I told him, and then I was like, oh wait. And then I thought about it. Yeah.
You told him after I told you. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so Bleeding Heart is your 2B. And that's
Bleeding
my 4B.
Heart Disease, dude. Damn good intro, and like this is one of those songs that is predictable. It leads itself so well to the do part.
Yeah. Oh, dude, the do-do-dos.
It's so fucking perfect. It is fucking perfect, and it's kind of like the first time we've heard them really do kind of like this weird, like doo-wop, do thing, Like they'll do it later on a lot, but this is like they didn't do it on Punk and they didn't do it on Heebs. This is like the first time we've really heard it.
No, you're right.
It's
well,
cute.
I don't think they've ever done it on any song, right?
They do like
doo-wop thing,
non-word choruses.
Okay.
But this is like the first time they've done it, and I don't know, it's cool. And like at the very end, like the pursuit of $1 Million Happiness part.
Yeah.
Like layering that on top of the do already.
Mm-hmm.
Like fucking A, dude. What an easy melody to jump into, and then you just add another part of that. And dude, it's just, oh my god, it's so fucking perfect.
I know.
This is a beyond banger.
The only thing that kind of turns me off a little bit to the song is the beginning part of it, because it's very, very slow, and the vocals are a little bit obnoxious, but once it speeds up, it fucking dominates. It's so good.
It's irritating, right? In the beginning?
It is irritating. Yeah, it is.
So
it is
cool.
a little
I love
bit.
it. I
it's
usually don't like irritating, but maybe because I know where it's going, I put up with it. I like it, but I like that.
Once that first like fast guitar riff starts, it's so fast. Like how can somebody play that fucking fast? It's weird. There's a lot of moments on this record like that for me, but I agree with you. The do-do-dos, it's
crazy.
It's so good.
It's so fucking catchy.
I know.
Yeah, come on.
I know. So should we play a little bit of it and then get into the lyrics and stuff a little bit?
Yeah, I mean it's a really clever song too. Like lyrically.
No, I agree. I totally agree. So let's play. Here's a little bit of a Bleeding Heart Disease from NOFX. Here we go. There you go, Bleeding Heart Disease from NOFX. It is really good, and it's not just the vocals; it's how they harmonize with just that guitar riff so well. It's so cheesy and it's so dumb. It's so good. It's so
2B,
simple.
baby. It's my 2B.
It's so simple.
That's also very annoying, is how simple most of their songs are, and still so fucking catchy. But that also bleeds into like the fact they've written 10 songs over and over and over and over.
Like most bands, right? Bob Dylan.
No, Bob Dylan only wrote like 4 songs over and over, but
okay, yeah, a little bit less. You're right.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, that beginning part when they're just that obnoxious part, I guess you could say, is I never knew what he was saying until this week. Never thought about looking at the lyrics until this week, obviously, and even now, they don't even seem right.
No, you still sing it the way you've always been singing it, probably.
Which aren't even words. How I've always sung it. So
sure.
Oh man, it's a solid song. So what do you got lyrically on this one?
I think this is probably like the most clever, well-crafted song on the album lyrically. I mean, like using like the do re mi stuff. I think that's cool. That's fun. That shows like another facet of NOFX that isn't just straight snotty punkers who want to be obnoxious. They got a little class to them, right? They've seen a couple films in their day. So that's cool. But what's even cooler, and I discovered this on a thread, was later on in like, they're not even like really verses, but like I guess the second verse after the first do-do-dos is, he says like, hey, how did the chain get started? More is what everyone wants. But the way he says things is you can read it as like how money corrupted me. And that's what he says. How is the first line, and the next line is mo, but more is what he's really saying. And then ni, how money. But yeah, he's the way he said the pacing of his speech is saying that. How money corrupted me. And then it makes sense because it leads into like the final line, right? The final line is how money polluted my mind.
Yeah.
And I thought that was fucking mind-blowing to me. That was like the coolest thing they've ever written.
I've never picked up on that. I've listened to this song 1,000 times.
I never have either until some fucking guy on I don't know what website
Reddit?
I was on said it. It wasn't Reddit. It was some random other fucking website. But yeah, like if you look at it, just read it like line by line, and just take the first 2 or 3 letters from each line. It's how money corrupted me, but the rupted is obviously ruptured. How money corrupted me.
Wow,
So
that's
I
so
don't know.
bizarre. Yeah, I never.
It's fucking cool.
Oh, that's so annoying.
Dude, these are the secrets we get into, baby boy. Like your little spiel at the beginning of the episode when you say, "Oh, we get into the secrets," everyone laughs. Everyone laughs because they don't believe you. But now they all feel dumb right now on their fucking couches and drinking their Shastas or whatever the fuck they drink.
Yes,
they all feel dumb now. They all feel dumb now because we just got into a secret level.
My gosh.
So that's a banger. That's a good song.
It is. it's an absolute banger. Like what I mean lyrically, what I have on this one, it's just like a criticism, also like the pursuit of happiness and how that was never real. It was always like a fabricated thing, and just to make people buy more things, like consumerism and the propaganda that behind all of that. And in the end, we just exploit poor countries for our benefit. It's very kind of like almost like Rage Against the Machine, but done in a very almost like silly way because it's NOFX.
A non-sellout way.
Yes, a non-sellout.
I mean, just that phrase itself, the pursuit of happiness. I mean, talk about like the most subjective phrase like ever invented. Yeah,
True.
This is the fucking pursuit of happiness. What does that mean? I don't fucking know. We can control them with it though. That's cool though.
So that was your 2B.
That's my 2B, baby.
Bleeding Heart.
What was your 2B?
We already know what my 2B was. So what was your 3B? Or should I go with my 3B?
I mean, you asked me first. So what's the matter with kids today?
Really?
Yeah.
That's a heavy song.
This song, I didn't like it at first. I was like, oh, this song's fucking dumb. This is their grungy song. This is their grunge song. I thought this sounds stupid. This is dumb. But then like I listened to it again and then learned the lyrics. I was like, you know what? This is kind of funny. I dig. So hear me out with this one.
Okay.
I do think this is their grunge song. This kind of reminds me of Tourette's or even just anything heavier from like In Utero. Like it's cool. And like lyrically, in a literal sense, he's just being an ignoramus. In a literal sense, he's just being an ignorant douche against like kids that want to be better. But like in a more metaphorical sense, I think he's scared of the generation of kids who don't question authority. Yeah. And in doing so, I think it's funny that he uses the grunge sound to make fun of kids that stay home and do nothing. Because, you know, people make fun of the grunge kids for doing just that. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was a really fucking good play on what's wrong with music, how we can make it better, and then using the music that you hate to pass forward that message. Like it was just I don't think it's like a great song, like melody wise, but I just think it's like one of their most well crafted songs that they've done for sure on this album, but also kind of like in the albums prior to this and after this. I think they spent a lot of time on this one.
If for a song that's like emitted in 20,
yeah.
No, but I understand what you mean. Like it does have that the grunge style to it. And what I have lyrically on this one is they're kind of criticizing all the suburban kids for following all the rules. But that's kind of what I get. I feel like it's them just making fun of them, but I do understand your viewpoint on it as well.
But there's like two senses you could do. There's like a literal sense and a metaphorical sense. Like the literal sense is they are making fun of suburban kids who are just sheep. Yeah. Right. And going along the line with like the concept of the album and the cover art. But like in a metaphorical sense, he's scared. He's scared of the kids that aren't questioning authority, like the passing of the torch, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And that's something that we criticize a lot about, especially like in hip hop music and pop music and stuff. There's no one to pass the torch to. And this is one of those things where he doesn't know who's going to step up. He doesn't, I mean, in hindsight now, they're still making fucking music, but
I know, right?
They don't know who they're going to pass the torch to. And grunge has always been kind of like the burnouts, like the hippies kind of the 90s, but in a more depressing sense.
And heavier sense too.
I think to use grunge music against them was just fucking brilliant.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you on that one for sure.
But like, do you get kind of like a sort of like Tourette's thing going on here in Utero a little bit?
Because I think it's because like the chord progression. That's why it's the heaviness, the chord progression. Yeah, they're pretty similar. That and then in this song, it starts off the same way because Tourette starts off with like the feedback and the one note. And then it goes into the main riff, the main chord progression, and then it's the same way in this one. It starts off with a one note, and then it breaks into that very kind of basic progression right there. So I get it. It totally makes
Okay.
sense.
I'm a new Nirvana guy, so when I hear something like this, it really stands out to me, and I actually dove into like In Utero, and I listened to In Utero this week also on my vinyls.
Oh yeah,
because
I forget you have it on the vinyls.
Because of this song.
Dude, I fucking love In Utero.
It's pretty good. It's not bad. I'm not gonna lie, it's not bad.
No, it's like amazing.
It's not good.
Well,
but
it's
not
a
bad.
perfect record. It's 3 out of 3.
I also actually gave it a 3 out of 3 when we did it.
I know you did.
I did.
Should we play a little bit of What's the Matter?
What do you want to do, baby? Whatever you want to do.
This really is the heaviest song on the damn album.
Yeah, purposely so. Also.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just the guitar tone and everything like that. It's also his vocals and what he like the filter that they use or however they record it. It's very like staticky and very it's very Tourette's. Like that, I mean that's a great comparison. Is Tourette's from Nirvana. So
I know all Nirvana.
Well, debatable. So, here's What's the Matter with the Kids Today from NOFX and Nirvana. All right, there you go. What's the Matter with the Kids Today? Very short NOFX song of this record. Great stuff though. So that was your 3B, correct?
Yeah, that's my 3B.
Okay. So my 3B is Homophobic, the first track.
Wow.
Yeah, the shortest song on the record. Wow. Owen, but I know this is not a banger for you, correct?
It's just, yeah, it's not.
I just think it was like a cool way to start out the record, and just straight up punk song. Lyrically, it's a satirical song about how much he hates bums, but then what he's describing about the bums is exactly what punkers are like and what his lifestyle is like. So it was funny. So not much, not a ton there, but it's just like a fun song to get into this album, and then you jump straight into Filthy Phil and then Freedom. And man, dude, this like we'd said earlier, the first 6-7 songs are just so different from one another, and they just have their own identities, and it just makes for a great record, honestly.
It really does. I'm not complaining at all, and I have a lot of positive things to say about this record.
And I'm surprised.
But it's trash. Just kidding.
Trash, yeah.
Just kidding.
So then what's your 4B?
That's late. It's whatever Dee Dee wants.
Ah, she's going to get it. Yeah.
Whatever Dee Dee wants. She's going to get it. Whatever Dee Dee wants.
That's
so
my
dumb.
That's my 11B. So
this was so like when I looked at my iPod this week too. When I look at my iPod,
Why?
Because I think that there are songs on there, and they kind of like refresh my memory on things, like Less Than Jake and stuff. There's stuff on there, and the AFI the same way. But Whatever Dee Dee Wants is an early NOFX song that I heard, and I don't know how. And I think it's because I downloaded an AFI album, and one of the songs on AFI was Whatever Dee Dee Wants.
What? That's so weird.
Dude, like, what was it? Rizzo in the box? Rizzo in a box?
Yeah, Rizzo in the Box, yeah.
That was on a Less Than Jake album that I downloaded. So, this was the 90s.
I mean, yeah,
You had no
like
idea
late
what you were
90s, early
downloading.
2000s, yeah. You're right. You're right. Yeah.
So, a lot of these songs that I've heard were because they were on a different album, and then when I realized that the singer is fucking entirely different, and we're going from ska to punk, and but whatever. Like Whatever Dee Dee Wants was one of the first NOFX albums that I heard, but I couldn't figure out where I went wrong downloading it because I don't know. But it's fun. It's iconic for me, and it's the guitars. Like the guitars on this one make it for me. The quick little noodling lead parts, like those little things that he's doing, dude, those get me. I love them. There's ska strokes in here. And they always do like a good job of just driving songs forward off just like a decent riff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like all the riffs are so fun. There's just 4-chord riffs. My God.
But this is a very subdued song too, because most of the song is just a bunch of palm mutes.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing like overly complicated like on a few of the other songs, and It's not super fast. It's pretty. I don't want to say mid-tempo, but yeah, it doesn't have the same spunk as some of the other songs, but it's still good. And yeah, the whatever DD wants part is just so silly. It's dumb.
It sounds like shit too. Like it's not even good. Like just because you can sing at the same time as somebody else doesn't quite mean that you're like harmonizing.
Yeah, you're right.
But
it's still good. Yeah, I mean, and I understand the nostalgia. Like if this is early on in your NOFX days, yeah, makes sense. It's catchy. It definitely is catchy because it's so bad and dumb. But
I couldn't figure out what album I downloaded this. I had this on it because I know I did not download this album. It was a different by some other band that had this song on it. Probably by a different name too.
Probably that's usually how it was downloading music back in the day. Or what would happen is like you would download an album and then it would be some asshole like random guy. It was his own music, you know.
Yeah.
So you get like a fucking NoFX record, and the last track would be this random ass guy.
Fucking
and then for like 2 or 3 years you think this was a NoFX song until your fucking friend told you, no, I don't know what that is.
Remember for the longest time everybody thought that Legend of Zelda Link song was System of a Down?
Yes.
Remember for like fucking 5-6 years.
What was that? What was that song though?
It was just some band that was trying to sound like System of a Down and then put it out as System of a Down. You know, I think even System at some point was like, no, who the fuck? I don't know what the fuck this is. It sounds like us, but it's not us.
You're totally right. Totally right.
The kids these days don't even fucking know like how hard it was to download music illegally.
Or even like, you know, bringing this to like 2007, 2008, or that was like 2007 when the Mars Volta, when it was leaked that the Mars Volta record came out, but it was this other band called Atlas of ID that sounded identical to the Mars Volta. Do you remember that?
No.
It was right before Bedlam came out. Bedlam and Goliath came out, and this it was like a 20-minute. It was essentially a 20-minute song, and it came out, and everybody thought it was the Mars Volta because it fucking sounds exactly like the Mars Volta. But the band was called the Atlas of ID. Yeah.
Was it good?
It was fucking really good.
Oh man, that sucks.
But then Mars Volta fans just like ripped on him, and then the band broke up.
Oh.
Yeah. So they put out this like one song over like it was like a 20-minute song, and then they flooded like Mars Volta forums and torrents and stuff in 2007, claiming that they were the Mars Volta. And it was.
You take a risk, right? You take a risk.
You do, yeah. But you should go listen to it. It's called the Atlas of ID.
It's like, I'm really curious.
It's like a 20-minute song, dude. You would never know that it was not a Mars Volta song. And then to make it even worse, like I don't know if it was the band or some fan, but at the very end they played like the first like maybe 10 seconds of Wax Simulcara. So wait, however you pronounce that fucking song?
Simulcara. That's fine.
Yeah, they just added like the drum part, the beginning drum part of that song at the very end to kind of say like, oh, this is like a demo that leaked or like a song that leaked, like bleeding into the next song.
Though. That's come on.
It's very shady. Very shady.
That's shady right there. Everything prior to just using the Mars Volta's music, everything prior to that was just the 90s. Or I guess 2005.
2000, yeah. But yeah, go check out Atlas of ID. But back to what were we talking about? Oh, whatever
DD wants. Yeah. And then like to end the whole song with pick it up. Stupid.
It's so dumb. I know, right?
So dumb.
Last second of 2 seconds of the song.
Yeah.
Should we play a little bit of whatever DD wants?
No, it's all right. I mean, you got a lot of bees to get through. What are we gonna do?
No, I mean we're like over halfway through at this point.
At least play the whatever DD wants part.
Okay. All right, so here you go. Whatever DD wants from the NOFXs.
Whatever DD wants, she's gonna get it. 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 Whatever DD wants.
All right, there's a bit of whatever DD wants.
She gonna get it.
It's true. It's a great song, man. I mean, this is another example of those palm mutes. They're so crisp. I don't know what it is about the tone on this record, but it's spot on. It really is. What do you got lyrically on whatever DD wants?
I don't know. I just deleted it all, so that's fine.
Cool. Well,
I think from what I remember, whatever DD wants was like it was him talking about how much he cares about somebody, in the lengths he's willing to go for them, but the lengths are like a half-assed attempt.
And that's what I got too, because the choruses say that, and then the verses are saying it. They're not like, they're kind of contradicting himself, and like it is half-assing. Kind of, he promises her this, but then in the end it's just like, well, whatever. I don't care that much, but
yeah, yes. I love you so much, I'd walk 1 mile for you, type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of what I got on this song as well.
Yeah.
So that was your 5B?
4B, baby, 4B.
That was your 4B. Oh my God. So my 4B, we already talked about bleeding heart disease.
Bleeding heart disease.
So then, what's your 5B?
My 5B is Triple P, Filthy Phil, Philanthropist.
Okay, so we touched upon that. My 5B, what is my 5B? Oh my God.
Probably Hot Dog, I would think.
No, What's the Matter with the Kids Today? That's my 5B.
Okay.
So we talked about that one.
Got that one going.
So what do you got for your 6B?
Hot Dog in a Hallway.
That's my 7B. There we go.
Yeah.
Now this song, it's quite a song.
It's a funny song. It's funny that it starts off heavy, kind of like a big, heavy and thick, like a big girl he's trying to talk about.
Yeah.
And it's a love song, kind of. It is a love song.
It is. It really is.
In his weird way that's unique, I guess. But I like how the song goes from clean, happy chord strums to like the overly distorted heavy parts.
It's
like
true.
That's what I love about this song.
It's that doom. It's the, I don't want to say a slide, but just like that,
like a punk swell.
Yeah, a punk swell. There you go.
Yeah. I'll call it that.
Which is so fun to do when you're actually playing the guitar.
It's fucking rad.
But most of the time when you hear it like on a record, it sounds kind of stupid. But when you're in the moment, it's really fun and cool.
You feel like a rock star. Who cares? You feel like Dave Navarro out there with his shirt off and stuff. It's cool. But there's some pretty funny lines from this one. My favorite being, "She's my filly, I'm her stud. Mm-hmm. She's my bean, I'm her pud." I didn't bother to look up what pud means. I don't want to because
I don't want to either.
I think it's hilarious.
Oh man,
she's my bean, I'm her pud.
I also like she's like a human sleeping bag. Dude, I mean,
like a tic tac to a whale.
Oh my God! Even just the title, "Hot Dog in a Hallway."
Hot dog to the head. It's not so much like a diss on like bigger women, because we know that like they don't discriminate. Is that even like the right word?
Yeah. No, you're right. Like
they don't like discriminate. Like he mentions, in Theme from a NOFX album, he mentions that he's obsessed with big lesbians. Like that's, my name is Fat Mike. I'm obsessed with big lesbians. I've been a punk rocker for most of my life.
Yeah.
So like they're not like discriminating against it. It's just an endearing song about what they find attractive in a woman. And it's funny.
I agree. And I feel like he's such a, he's a pretty unique individual. I mean, yeah, we kind of talk shit on Fat Mike, but he's a pretty unique guy, and he has some interesting viewpoints and good viewpoints on life and society in general. So it's not like, I really don't think he's making fun of somebody in this necessarily. It's more, yeah, I don't know.
We just live in a time now where like anything that's even semi-taboo, like we have to explain, and like this is what he likes. It's fucking irritating. This is what he likes, and it's like, who are we to dissect it anyway? And you're right. We make fun of Fat Mike a lot, deservedly so. He's kind of a butthole a lot of the times.
It can be, yeah.
But like, to be honest, what real, like the ace in the hole that he has is during that backstage pass, which I mean, obviously it's edited heavily, and they actually complained a lot that it was edited heavily by Fuse TV. Yeah. But the one like underlying theme that Fat Mike always brought to the table, in spite of all the bad shows they played, the gigs that never happened, the drugs, is he wanted to put on a good show for the fans. And he always felt bad for the kids that bought tickets and didn't get a show. Like one of like the Asian countries they went to, this didn't happen. the show didn't happen. And then he played guitar in like the middle of a hotel lobby.
Yeah,
and played like 2 songs.
That was
and he
so
was like,
cool.
And he was like, I've never done this in my fucking life, and I would never do this. But these kids all bought tickets, and I feel bad.
Yeah.
And like that aspect shows that he's not just a punker. Like, he is a person. He is a businessman. He understands the concept of these people paid money to see me. I need to do something for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I dig that.
I do too. And he did an interview recently on a really bad podcast. Like, the fucking host is terrible, but he has good guests on it. It's fucking
I was like,
terrible.
Joe Rogan. Is that who it is?
But no, dude, way worse. I mean, Joe Rogan, he's hit or miss, but this guy, dude, it's a terrible podcast. But yeah, like I said, great guests. And Mike was on it. Fat Mike was on it, and he was just kind of talking about like how he's overly sensitive to the point where he lets things get to him, and he kind of like makes up for it by making fun of people a little bit and kind of just being completely honest. But he said like the stupidest things just like bum him out and just throw him into like this deep depression. And he said it's always been that way, but it made me kind of think a little bit differently about him. Just the way he was talking. I mean, I didn't really explain it that well, but the way he was talking about like how he feels about what certain people say about him, not just online, but just in general. And just like, it's kind of sad. Like, people like are really kind of mean to him for no good reason. Like, especially when he's the one being honest about things, but yet everybody attacks him for no good reason.
Well,
that makes sense.
Well, I wouldn't say for no good reason. I mean, they thrive on conflict.
Well, yeah,
and that's why like the band is kind of like based off of is conflict in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's gotten to the point where Fat Records is synonymous with if you're signed to like Fat Records, then you are a force to be reckoned with as far as a band is concerned. So now he's in a position of essentially picking and choosing just what band he thinks he can make money off of. And that kind of, I don't know, that kind of goes along the lines of why people think he's a sellout, kind of, because now he has power and he doesn't sign, thousands of bands, which why should he? Like he has a mortgage too. I don't care. But to hold that much power, similar to like a major label, is whoever signs to Fat Records, it has a better chance of making it than a band that is not signed to Fat Records.
Yeah.
So, take that for what it's worth, because it's a real catch-22, because that's his label, and helping one band out is better than helping no bands.
True.
But at the same time, to pretend like you hate major labels so much, but then you're essentially like a major label of the punk community. I don't know.
I mean, the only label that's bigger than Fat Wreck is Epitaph, honestly.
Yeah.
Within like the punk realm, but
yeah, like Fat Wreck is bigger than Nitro. Like they passed them long ago, and it's
Nitro hasn't done anything. They haven't put out anything in years. Like
yeah.
I mean, when it comes to the punk stuff, the only two labels that are constantly putting stuff out is Epitaph and Fat Wreck, and then like obviously smaller, very much smaller labels, but
Death Row.
Well, yeah, Death Row, yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know. I do feel bad for always like bashing on him, but it's like, dude, come on, man. Like, he's an asshole a lot of the times. He's a fucking douchebag.
Sometimes.
All the fucking time. And the whole Stone Brewing thing where he brewed the beer but literally just showed up for one day and poured a couple hops into the mash and then called it a day and left. Like, fuck that. And like the whole Vegas comments that he made, like, you're too old to be making dumbass comments like that. Grow up. Like, you're doing it because you like the bad publicity. You think it helps your punk cred. It just went a little bit
too far. Yeah.
He thinks it helps his punk cred, and get the fuck out of here. So yeah, I do feel bad sometimes, but then I remember that it's NOFX, and they thrive off conflict.
But then a band like Guttermouth does too.
Yeah, but Guttermouth's not on nearly the same level as NOFX.
Yeah.
Popularity wise, I should say. Popularity
wise, yeah.
Record selling wise. I'm sure Punk and Drublic has sold more than all of Guttermouth's albums combined.
Oh yeah, I would imagine so. The only album that would come close would be Covered with Ants, but
yeah.
All right, so should we play a little bit of Hot Dog in the Hallway?
Yeah.
With the Chicka Chickas, the very slow Chicka Chickas.
Yes, dramatic Chicka Chickas.
Yes, there you go. Dramatic ones. So here we go. Hot Dog in a Hallway from NOFX. There you go. Hot Dog in a Hallway from NOFX.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that was each our 7Bs? Right?
6, 7B, yeah.
I mean, do we have anything else? Like we've covered just about everything. Like
Yeah, that's
maybe like 2 songs, 3 songs from what it looks like. We didn't touch upon Liza, Love Story, The Black and White, and the last song, Drop the World. So 4 songs.
Yeah, Liza and Drop and the Black and White are not bangers for me. The Black and White are the ones that I thought there was like a kind of a cool sort of metal sound. You know, like how Me First always does in the beginning of their song. Not always, but a lot of times they'll do like a different thing in the beginning of their song and then go into their normal punk stuff.
Yeah.
This is the one that I thought was kind of like a cool like punker and metal thing, and then they went into their normal NOFX sound.
Yeah,
but it wasn't a banger.
The dun 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 dun. It's just it's almost like a very Metallica, like Ride the Lightning Metallica.
Yeah.
Into straight up just like punk. It's
what a punker would think metal sounds like. Yeah.
That's spot on right there. That's my 9B. So, but
okay.
the bridge in that song though too, it's slowed down a bit and it's super groovy.
I also will say that Smelly, this is his best song. This is his fucking best song on the album. He kills it. His drumming, not just like fills, but how fast he is faster than anything he's ever done in NOFX up until this point. And he kills it on this song.
I would have to yeah, I think you're right. He does have some really fucking cool parts on this song. Should we play a little bit of it? This is my 9B.
Whatever. I don't.
What do you want to do? Do you want to talk about any more songs?
We're at the tail end of this thing, so now it's we're throwing caution to the wind here.
Should we wrap it up then?
We could wrap. You got anything else to say?
I mean, there's nothing super specific, unless we talked about any particular song. But I mean, I'm pretty much good because there's not a ton written about it, so there's not outside of the cover and the music.
We tackled all of it. Like we literally tackled all of this album.
True. And there were no music videos, no singles for this record. It's the forgotten NOFX record. That's really what it is.
It really is. Yeah.
So then let's give our final thoughts. And then with our final thoughts, we'll also rank the record, or not rank it. We'll rate the record with our world famous rating system where 3 is a perfect album. 3 is a perfect album. 2 is a good album you're going to continue to listen to. 1 is a bad album, but give it a shot. And 0 is an absolute trash fire. So what do you got, Jeff? Go.
This, I was late to the party on this one. Very late. And I think because of that, it's not going to break like my top 4. Because my 4th one is going to rotate. But my top 3 are pretty much solidified, and it's hard, like objectively, it's hard to get rid of those 3. So no fault to this one. And NOFX is just a band that has released so many fucking albums, and they're all at least, minus 1. They're all at least good. They're all at least good, and they're fun to listen to. And this band is fun to follow because, again, since like their beginning, they will do something to cause controversy. And fucking sure as shit, even just like a year and a half ago, they did. And so it's a fun listen. And this week was a lot. There was a lot to listen to, but it wasn't bad. Like it was easy to get through, and I had a good time. And this album's killer. And I can't wait till I find it in person. Because I don't know what I don't know how I'm gonna buy it. It's just fucking awkward.
I'm glad you're gonna buy it though. That's the thing. I'm happy you're gonna buy it.
Yeah, this is still in my top 5. This is my 5th one. Yeah,
that's good then. I'm glad.
I'll buy my top 6 for sure. Like, yeah, absolutely.
All right.
But given all that, I mean, this is not I don't think this is a perfect album, but this is something unique in that they've never done anything like this ever before or after. This is like their experimental record, if you even want to call it like experimental. For them, it's very experimental. This is their experimental record, and I don't know if they purposely went for it and like missed, or if they tried to do this and achieved this sound. I don't know, because there's not a lot written about it. So I don't know, but I give it 2.5. I'll give it 2.5.
Fuck, man.
I'll give it 2.5.
If I had ranked all these records, all the record, if I had ranked them how I thought you would have ranked them, I would have said that you would have given this like a 1.5.
Oof.
Yeah, I did not expect that. I thought you were going to hate this because you were
some
bitching
iconic
so much
NOFX
about it.
sounds on there.
I know, but you were bitching so much about it last week, so I just fucking surprised.
Well, a lot of if we just prelimmed rank these, this would be so low.
Yeah.
But because I dove into it, I was like, oh, there's a lot of sounds on here that I thought would never be on here. I never thought I would compare NOFX to like Nirvana in a musical sense. Like, that's fucking crazy. And I did, and it happened. And so there's a lot of things on here that I discovered this week upon careful listening. And, it rose. It rose from the ashes like a phoenix rising, phoenix ignition.
Oh, that's a good song.
As it were.
Great song.
Yeah,
Great
the only there's only 2 good Thrice albums, but that's one of them.
There's like 6. But that's fine.
There's 2, and no, that's 2.
All right, so you gave this a 2.5. I'm very, very surprised, but happy about it. Very happy. I'm glad you're going to get this on vinyl. You'll go through the embarrassment of buying this at a store. So I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for this. Final thoughts for me. I love this record. Like I said, this is the first thing I heard from the band. A lot of nostalgia, a lot of good times. I love how unique it sounds. There's nothing in their discography that sounds anything like this record. And it sucks that it's so forgotten and there's so little written about it, not just by the band, but just by fans in general. Like, if you just type in Heavy Petting Zoo into Google, there's just like, normally you can find like a shit ton of Reddit threads and just like, here's, whatever magazine or whatever website, this is what we rank this record. This is why we rank this record this. Nothing on this fucking record. It's for a band as kind of popular and iconic as they are, to have so little written about a record is so weird to me, but whatever. I love it. I'm glad we did it. I've been wanting to do this record for years. For like many years, I've wanted to do this record on the pod. I'm glad we finally did it, and we ranked all the records. So I'm stoked. I love it. It's not a perfect record. I will say that. It's not perfect, but I'm going to have to give it a 2.9.
Oh, so, damn.
Yeah, it's almost perfect, but then the last 2 songs, they don't kill the record for me, but they're just like, leave them off the record maybe. I don't know. They're not bad songs, but...
So NOFX has never done a perfect album to you?
For me, no.
Wow.
I mean, like,
Crazy.
Heavy Petting Zoo is a 2. Heavy Petting Zoo and Coaster are 2.9s for me. They're because Tegan and Sarah, that song does not make that a perfect record. Ugh. That's just the way she goes. It's the way she goes, boys.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, 2.9 for me. I absolutely adore this record though. So that's about all I got for Heavy Petting Zoo for NOFX. You got anything else or?
No, I don't.
Okay, awesome. Then, go to Apple Podcasts, go rate, review, and subscribe to us on there. Follow us on social media at SNA Radio. Thank you all for listening. Reach out to us, Discord server. We have that. Go check it out. And stay tuned for the next episode, because next 2 episodes, it should be pretty good because we already know what we're doing. So get into that. And that's it. That's all.
Bye-bye. Dude, that's dessert.
I can't even
bro.
tell you the last time I did it. I can't even tell you the last time I did
Dude,
it.
I shoved my finger so far down my mouth, it's not even funny. So often it's ridiculous.
You start to gag, right? And also, I really like the way he pronounces, fucking sound like an idiot. Pronounces, pronounces Birmingham.
No, it's not. You're trying to be a little punker guy. You're trying to be a
you're so
liberal
dumb.
animation
You're so
guy.
Dumb. You're so dumb.
That's what you're trying to do.
That's dumb. That's dumb. You're so dumb. That's dumb. You're dumb. Just dumb. I would have gotten it, but
you kidding me right now? You joking my ass?
Dude, I don't joke axes. So yeah, that's my number 9.
It's funny. That's a funny song. He says the word
is a
jugs
funny song,
too. Who says jugs?
A fucking 12-year-old.
Yes. Stupid.
But I don't know why you hate it.
Okay.
So, what do you got for number 1? Pump up the volume, 'cause I'm a cook.
Yeah.
Right?